Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. This is the Live Drive Jive Archive with your host, Frank Monday. Hope you are doing well today out in Happy Land. Man, it is freezing cold in the capital this morning. I believe it is below zero, but I'll have to check the temperature later. My vehicle does not have a thermostat in it. But yes, indeed, it feels super icy. I almost feel like wearing my gloves, but I'm not going to. Rather than that, I'm just going to grab myself a stogie. Hope y'all good-looking, sexy people are doing well out in Happy Land today. Hey, who's out there? Looks like Diane. Good morning, Diane. Good evening. Good afternoon. Wherever you may be, whenever you may be, and whoever you may be. We are broadcasting out of the central kingdom of the celestial dragon this morning. Twilight Zone, Old Peking, where everything is status quo and a little morning grind conversation is apropos. I haven't been getting any news from Happy Land, really. I tuned out for the last couple of days. So tell me what's going on out there in Happy Land. I did hear that the free world is no longer embracing freedom, but rather going the way of the Russia, China, USA superstate New World Order. So it's all under one leadership now. The puppet king, holder of the office of president-elect, Beijing Biden. So that's a sad day for everyone. I mean, that when asked about his allegiance to the crown here in China, he just smiled really big and laughed and then walked away. He's like, I can't answer that. My son over there is building a 5-star luxury resort right next to Frank Monday's Academy. What am I supposed to say? You know? Yeah, the world is in chaos, but it's not. You know, it's order through chaos. That's what they like to do. It's called fire management. I'm sure you're familiar with it. It's where when the fire department doesn't have any work, they run around and light things on fire, and that way they have a job to do. They got something to put out. So run around and yell mysterious boogeyman everywhere, and then act like you're the savior. You know, show up and say, "Oh, I got this all figured out. I know what's good. I know what's best for everyone." We saw the bad player, our friend, the Swiss Nazi. Not our friend, our enemy of humanity, working with his super soft buddy to create a tasty, delicious bowl of batshit soup, and then, you know, run around and say, "Oh, okay, we got this all figured out. Everybody panic. Constant panic. It'll just take a couple of fortnights to get it under control, so don't worry about giving up your liberties. Don't worry." Yeah, so we all know it's really BS. Anyway, on to better things. It's really a great crowd out in Happy Land this morning. Welcome to the show. Good to see you, Diane. Who else is out there in Happy Land? Give me a yo if you can hear me. Looks like it's Diane. Free world has vanished. Yes, indeed, I agree with you, dear. But the funny thing is that it's just business as usual here in the capital. Hey, look, it's Ian. Yeah, I was just saying, Ian, that over here in Twilight Zone, Old Peking, it's just business as usual. Nothing's really changed, man. Other than we've pretty much moved to a cashless society, but they've been implementing that for the last 5 or 6 years. And then when the boogeyman came out of the closet, that's when it really went into overtime. That was one of the first things that they said, was that the boogeyman would be on any kind of paper exchange. I remember when I went into a convenience store early on, the gal was wearing a hazmat suit and goggles, rubber gloves, and I whipped out cash, and the first thing she said was, "Oh, I can't take that." She's like, "Electronic payments only." And it took a couple of months for them to get back to where they would accept a little cash. But nowadays, if you whip out cash, man, they whip out a pair of gloves and spray the table and act like you're trying to give them the plague, even though it's essentially already over. You know, the boogeyman's already essentially disappeared and receded into the shadows. But they want to act like he's still out there. So Ian, you're new to the channel. I'll break down the 100-day magical challenge for you. See if I can get this speaker up here a little closer to me. The 100-day, I got the trumpet. The 100-day magical challenge is just this, Ian. 100 days of prayer and invocation and making yourself a Aladdin's lamp magical wish list. So get yourself a scrap of paper and write Aladdin or something else at the top. Maybe you like Pandora, Apollo. You could put the Yud Hey Vah Hey if you like, if you're into the Tetragrammaton. So whatever divides force you like to beseech, even your own mind, and choose yourself 3 items you would like to focus on as low magic manifestation in the material realm over the next 100 days. And then every day for 100 days, take out your list, carry it with you in the first trimester anyway, because once you get involved with this, the items on your magical wish list will start appearing pretty rapidly. So the key is to get that list made up and then make yourself a prayer of thanks and gratitude. You can follow along with my daily prayer if you like, or you can make one of your own. You'll be learning about the rule of threes, the division of thirds. So I've identified 3 great deceptions in the material sphere that are being perpetrated against humanity. Let's talk a little bit about the first great deception. I mean, obviously there are more than 3. Hey, is that Little Fish? Oh, no, I thought I saw little fish out there. I guess not. Ian and Diane so far. Looks like we've got a couple of people in the ideas room. So the three great deceptions. The first deception is the deception of spirit. And it includes the Big Bang fallacy and evolution out of apehood. So it's the denial of Anaxagoras and brought forth by Socrates, the pre-Atlantean belief of the world of invisible preforms. So it's just a bald-faced denial of intelligent design. When you're surrounded on all sides by intelligent design. So that's the first great deception. It's the promulgation of atheism as the new religion with their unassailable dogma of science, where pseudoscience rather than genuine science is the order of the day. So in order to combat and disperse the first great deception, it's important that on a daily basis we discuss the science of spirit. For me, it's bringing forth understanding through the Tao and the Tao Te Ching, but as a synthesized combination with Western mystery tradition. So that kind of spells out and delineates the first great deception. I mean, to make it as clear as possible, it's basically the false dichotomy of atheism and spiritualism. I do suggest, though, that you be malleable in... Wow, this dude just pulled right in front of me, even though I had already occupied and commanded the lane. He felt like getting his slow ass in front of me was more important. So the basic spirit of the channel these days is to go forward into paranormal and spiritual resource. Paranormal, supersensual, supernatural, and spiritual research with a spirit of inclusiveness and cooperation, utilizing a multi-model approach as set forward by Robert Anton Wilson in his Schrodinger's Cat and Illuminati trilogy, and best clarified in his book Prometheus Rising. So if you haven't read Dr. Bob Wilson's book Prometheus Rising, I suggest you get a copy and put yourself through it in the 100-Day Magical Challenge. Additionally, here on YouTube, you can listen to the 20-minute audiobook by RHJ titled It Works. So as a prerequisite for the 100-Day Magical Challenge is a basic understanding of the three great deceptions as identified by Frater Francis Lunas Aristeas of the Ordo Templi Astarte, or the Church of Hermetic Sciences. That's me. I'm Frater Francis Lunis Aristeas, your friend and well-wisher on the 100-day magical challenge. Get yourself a sheet of foolscap and get to it. Grab a good pen. Get yourself a tasty beverage that you enjoy. Sit back and relax. Coronate yourself a magic hat that you like to use in your magic practice. Put it aside so that when you don your magic cap, you know that you're doing magic. Light a candle, any color will do. And say your prayer. Take up your magical wand or pen. At the top of your sheet of paper, write down. I like Aladdin. I think it's a fun one because as soon as you see the name Aladdin, it directly connects you with the idea that's being transmitted, right? Aladdin's lamp. He discovers it in the desert, in the secret cave. You rub the lamp, and out pops the genie. Your wish is my command. The only jinn we're connecting with is the higher mind, the holy guardian angel as identified by Israel Regardi. You know, take your time, sit back and relax. Command yourself to relax. Take a deep, invigorating breath and invoke the Tetragrammaton, fourfold name of God. So on the inhale is the fire breath, right? The Yud. Yud. On the inhale for 4 seconds, then hold for 4, and it's the Hey. The first Hey, Yud Hey, Hey. Then exhale for 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4 on the Va. And then hold again for Hey. So let me explain the fourfold breath to you if you're not already familiar. The Tetragrammaton is Yahweh, right? Yod Hey Vav Hey. And so when you write it in Hebrew, the Yud at the top becomes the top of the person. So you're basically drawing an ancient pictograph of a human being, of a man or a woman. And so the Yud starts the thing. That's the top of your pictograph. And that's the head. And then the Hey makes the arms. So that's the water element. You got fire at the top, then water. And then the one down the middle, the Val, is a dash or a dot with a line pulling down, and that represents air. And that shows the whole torso of the body in the pictograph. And then the very bottom, like you'd guess it, the 4 Kabbalistic elements is earth. And that's the bottom Hey, the 2 legs. So look up Tetragrammaton and draw the 4 Hebrew characters, Yud Hey Vav Hey, from top down, and that forms a man, or the image of a human being. And the invocation, Yud Hey Vav Hey, basically means, I am who I am. So when you practice the fourfold breath of pulling in the 4 Kabbalistic elements, right? Fire, awakening the mind on the Yud, condensing it in the body, the center of emotions, the water element. Hey, right? Grabbing, holding that energy in. And then exhaling long through the torso, the Val, the air, expelling the air into the material sphere. And then holding again down at the legs, the second Hey, right? Connection to the earthly realm. That's basically, you're just saying in Hebrew, you're saying, I am who I am. And that's all that I am. I'm strong to the finish 'cause I eats me spinach. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. Toot toot. So, pretty straightforward. I mean, this is natural magic that originated 10,000 years ago with prehistoric tribes. Folks like to say goat herders, right? No better people, man, making goat cheese and drinking goat milk and carrying around a super-powered nuclear ark of the covenant, building megalithic structures, inheritors of pre-Atlantean transmission. All right, guys, I want to remind you, this is the Live Drive Jive Archive with your host, Frank Monday, broadcasting to you from the central kingdom of the celestial dragon, Twilight Zone Old Peking, where natural magic and the science of spirit is the order of the day. Give me a yo out in Happy Land if you can hear me all right. I never know if this microphone is picking up my voice. Sometimes I think, oh, I just talked for 20 minutes and nobody could hear me. We are unraveling all of the mysteries here. The gray alien agenda, also known as the Three Amigos, who ride in a vortex of negative entropy. They're kind of like the garbage collectors of the astral, you know? They zip around and suck up all the phantoms and ghouls and ghasts that are produced by people in the material sphere through divergent and deviant magic. So folks are engaged in magic whether they like it or not, you know? The magical mind is always at work. The monkey mind jumping from idea to idea, bringing forth all sorts of trouble into the material sphere for themselves and others, because they're constantly pulling at the strings of life and death. You know, they don't know to sit back and just say that simple invocation, I am who I am, and finish it off with a yuck, yuck, yuck. That's all that I am. Let's see if we can get on up out the way of this guy. Get on up out the way, bitch. I said, get on up out the way. I said, move your big old happy ass out my way, bitch. I gotta move it and groove it and what? And boogie to the tune. I said, get on up, get on up, get on up out the way, bitch. Yeah, some big old flatbed truck was just dragging ass. They like to drag an ass over here in China. You know, it's the kingdom of the celestial dragon. So it's all about dragging ass. You ever had yourself a little dragon ass? It's quite delightful, in fact. All right, so where did we leave off? We are approaching haunted, dark Plum Blossom Lane. Just past the bridge. I gotta think of a name for this bridge. Maybe White Cloud Bridge, because there always seems to be fluffy white clouds over here. Sometimes there's a deep, dank Lovecraftian fog as I approach Plum Blossom Lane in the Stygian pre-dawn. All right, here it is, man. So I'll tell you guys about Plum Blossom Lane if you're not familiar. There's an old wizard who lives out here on Plum Blossom Lane, and he's really quite insane. He humbles about on his cane in clear and palpable pain, mumbling inane. Munch, 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 crunch, crunch, crunch. He eats cicadas for his lunch. The wizard of Plum Blossom Lane. So on both sides of Plum Blossom Lane, there are cemeteries and graveyards, tombstones, some of them dating back to 200 years ago. So I've been out here wandering, and it's a little country road that leads up from the main highway to the rear end, the back door of the suburbs here, where the academies are located. And just like a person can communicate with dead spirits that have passed away. Those very same spirits, the ones that haven't achieved transcendence and didn't build a suitable spiritual body during life, die and they become specters and hungry ghosts and phantoms. And so they hang out along the sides of Plum Blossom Lane, especially in the early morning, and they whisper to the drivers and call out and try to pull them into the netherworld with them. So as a natural magician and magi, I felt their presence here, and I saw so many head-on collisions here and people getting into accidents along this one little strip of lane that I was suspicious that there was some paranormal activity going on. So I got out here a few months ago and did some research and discovered that my intuition, my suspicion was correct, that it's just littered with cemeteries, headstones everywhere. And I knew that, and I wrote the poem, The Wizard, the Old Owl Man. I wrote that poem about the Wizard of Plum Blossom Lane before I had actually met him and before I had 100% confirmation that there were graveyards here, because it's just built up like a green strip. Like they have on the left side near the river, they have a walking area for people to bike and walk and stuff. And then on just south of the bridge, they have a 5-star golf course. And I was like, okay, but what gives it this dark paranormal feel? And why are there just constantly car accidents along here? And so I got out and I walked around in the woods around here, and I started discovering numerous cemeteries. And before I knew it, I realized there were cemeteries all over the area right here. And I was like, aha, I knew it. I knew it intuitively. I could feel it. I could hear the whispers of phantoms in the shadows among the woods, dark and hoary, lonely woods. So yeah, part of my drive takes me through Plum Blossom Lane, but fortunately, I'm a Taoist practitioner. I'm a magi of Hermetic sciences, and so these days, I'll stop occasionally around the time of the full moon and offer some tribute to the spirits. Do a brief ritual for them, maybe set out some fruit, burn a little incense, and that way you keep them satiated so that they don't, so they know who you are. So jump in there and review Israel Regardi's presentation of the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram and the fourfold breath. The old Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who have trespassed against us. Thine is the kingdom, Atah. Thine is, Atah, the kingdom, Malkuth, and the power, Vegubra, and the glory, Vegudla. Leolam Amen. So that's the basic prayer, the Lord's Prayer. Steiner was big on the Lord's Prayer. He made his own version. I've made my own version of a similar prayer, but it's from the it's from the Arbatel of Magic, Arbatim, and it means fourfold name of God. So all of this is done before the great Tetragrammaton, the Yud He Vah He, the vast and the Almighty. It's all done openly before the Godhead and the holy four archangels, Raphael, Gabriel, Michael, Oriel. For about me flame the pentagrams, and within me shines the six-rayed star. So it's all done openly in front of God and his archangels, the archangeli. So everything's holy and forthright, done in the light of the divine creator, maker of heaven and earth, creator of heaven and earth, maker of all things visible and invisible. You guys know the routine. Come on, let's see them yo's out in Happy Land. That really puts the lead in your pencil. What are y'all talking about out there in the ideas room? I can't look at the chat until I get to the yard. But thankfully I'm at the yard now. Oh, you watched the stream, Jeff? Thank you, Jeff. Hey, there's a new guy out in the ideas room named Jeff. Everybody give Jeff a warm welcome. Jeff's name is I can't even read that, man. All right, I gotta pull to the yard and stop. I can't read the chat until I get to the yard. Wow, I've only got 10 minutes to showtime. So we're winding down the end of the Live Drive Jive transmission. Broadcasting live Monday through Friday out of the Central Kingdom of the Celestial Dragon. I remind you, I like to do a weekend interview. We'll just call it, I don't know, what are we going to call it? Some time at Frank's place, something like that. I don't know. I've so far I've been calling it like open house interview, open house symposium. So it'll take place either usually just after Coast. So if you watch the Coast to Coast Friday show, you can tune in. I think I'm going to leave my car running for a little while and heat up a bit, man, because it's ice cold out there. Yeah. So if you want to take part in the weekend symposium at Frank's place on the Frank Monday channel, then just look out for the live stream and then jump in there and grab the link and head over to StreamYard and join the chat, and I'll put you on the show. I love to do live interviews. I did one with Occult Priestess last weekend, and the weekend before I did one with OG Anthony. So if any of you guys, Diane, Ian, Paul, Taryn, Tracy, Jeff, who's Jeff? Jeff what? Ian, Ryan, Jeff, Hydrick. Yeah, I worry. Jeff says he watched the stream with Frank and Anthony looks like he's in good shape, but these shots and boosters are especially affecting young men like him, so he's probably injured, brain injury. Thinking he's about getting it for his children even. Wow, yeah, that's dangerous stuff, man. When you start playing games with Big Pharma, the only thing it ends in is death. I mean, if you turn your life and your authority over to the guys over at Big Medicine, then you're headed straight for a coffin. So I feel for him. I mean, there's nothing you can do or say to deter someone from stubbornness. You know, they're hostile and aggressively hostile. And they think that they're really pig-headed about this. But there's all we can do is show them love and tolerance, and keep up the good fight, y'all. Tune in this weekend for the Open House Symposium. Join me if you want to be on the channel. I'm excited about that. Occult Priestess has invited me to her channel to do another interview, so I'll head over there and do an interview with her next month. Join me on the 100-Day Magical Challenge. Learn the invocation of the Tetragrammaton. Yod, Hey, Vol, Hey. I am who I am. The lesser banishing of the pentagram. And start discussing the three great deceptions. Make your Aladdin's lamp magical wish list. and daily engagement in the science of spirit. Have you ever had a paranormal experience before? Have you been visited by a deceased family member or had a visitation with extraterrestrials? Did you watch Dr. Joseph Farrell at Giza Death Star? Did you watch his latest transmission this morning? If so, what'd you think of it? Make sure you hit the thumbs up and sub the channel. Ring Pavlov's bell, right? The Pavlonian bell, so that you can get your updates. And check back in later and comment on the video, please, if that's not too much to ask. Because they don't make the live chat available with the video. So when I sign off, the video will take a little while to process, but they won't make the live chat available. And so it's really important for the YouTube algorithm that if you comment on the video, it'll get better circulation. But if you just hit the thumbs up and the sub button, that's only part of the battle these days. So try to go back into some of my older videos if you have time and comment on them. Like Jeff, you said you watched the OG Anthony interview. So if you would, please leave a comment on that, man. It really helps. Yeah, that's about it, man. I'm gonna sign off. I'll see you all over at Coast to Coast. I always like to sign off with a prayer. Holy art thou, Lord of the universe, the vast and the mighty one. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. Creator of heaven and earth, maker of all things visible and invisible, master of both the light and the darkness, we adore thee and we invoke thee. Send your divine spiritual agents, holy guardian angels, to guide and protect us through the innumerable snares of the earthly realm and the cleansing wind, which is, man, the wind this morning in Beijing is ice cold. It's an Arctic blast, sub-zero temperatures, really, really cold. Send that cleansing wind to disperse all intellectual dichotomy and endless human opinion. Oh, there's no Coast to Coast today? Bummer. Yeah, please check in later with the video and leave a comment. That's super important for the YouTube algorithm. Send that cleansing wind, Lord, to disperse all intellectual dichotomy and endless human opinion. Have us know those things which we should know and must know for the fortification of our spiritual being and well-being here on earth, so that we may spread that knowledge among our brothers and sisters along the path of reunion with the divine Godhead. You know, we're all going to meet up on that golden shore one day. It's a fact that the preforms, the Socratic preforms, are where we dwell. We're spiritual beings living a material life. And that spirit that animates the physical life is so important. So take a deep, powerful breath of the God force and be at one with the great Creator as you go about your daily endeavors, whether you're signing off from the abodes of the day or waking up from the abodes of the night. Marcus Aurelius, that great Stoic emperor, the last great philosopher king of Rome, he said, what a great treasure to wake up each day and have wonderful life again and engage with your fellow man in the great work of refinement of your personal will, your free will on earth. What a great treasure that is. And I agree with them. I think Marcus Aurelius was spot on in that transmission. If you haven't read your Marcus Aurelius, get in there and review the lessons of the Stoics, because you're going to need that kind of fortification going into this great challenge, right? The great night of the soul, when darkness reigns on the earth. You know, Beijing Biden, he's a perfect representation of the situation we find ourselves in, right? A know-nothing puppet that is just fucking out of his mind, shitting his pants, and what a disaster. Everyone saw it coming, though. I mean, if you were in that false dichotomy when it happened, and Dark Journalist was streaming live during the election, and we just watched it. We watched it get stolen right before our eyes. A total COG deep state subterfuge that was perpetrated by criminals and government against the American people. What an absolute crock of shit, right? Oh my God in heaven. Dear Lord, bring justice to the evildoers who are on positions of the highest in the land. They need to be brought down, brought before tribunals, and given long prison sentences for their misdeeds. That's a fact, and I invoke that in the name of the Tetragrammaton, in the name of the great three supernals, the Mother, the Father, and the Holy Divine Spirit of the child, right? In the name of the only begotten Son, Christ Jesus, and his beloved wife, Mary Magdalene, High Priestess of the esoteric inner order. You know, y'all know that in modern times, Cthulhu has risen, and praise be to the Mother Hydra and the Father Dagon. Y'all good-looking, sexy people out in Happy Land, stay well. I'm headed over to breakfast, so I will see you in the abodes of the future. As above, so below. Keep your eye out for that master key, because we're revealing it here. Occult knowledge, esotericism, and high secrets, man. Very, very, very deep secrets are being revealed daily on the Live Drive Jive transmission. And love is the law. I'll see all good-looking people in the future. That's a fact. Ty Jen for now.